There were people from all over the world there meeting and conducting business and planning this and planning that, and most of them didn't have a care in the world about God or anything to do with that, and they seemed to be happy, seemed to be having a good time, and everything seemed to be going great. Of course, the operative word there is seem. You know, the world can give the appearance of being directly opposed to the truth of God. It can look very alluring. It can look like things, well, like he was seeing the world here very easily, all too easily. And so he begins to evaluate what's going on around him by the world's standards. Well, what does the world value? Pleasure, wealth, you know, some form of prosperity, power. You know, everybody looked up to these guys. I don't know if they respected him so much as they envied him like he did. You know, maybe they figured this guy's got some mojo, and if I hang around, maybe some of it'll rub off on me, and I'll be better off. Or they're in a position to better me, so I'm going to butter them up and suck up to them, as we say, and maybe they'll drop a few shekels in my direction, and you know, life will be better. But it's all about this life. Every value has to do with our life here. And so here is a servant of God, but at the moment he's buried down in the jungle. And all he sees are a few things that are around him. And he's looking at it as the world looks at it. He sees his own disadvantage, seemingly, in doing what he's doing. Surely in vain, I have wasted my time serving God. Surely in vain have I kept my heart pure. Why didn't I just do what I wanted to do? In vain have I washed my hands in innocence. All day long I have been plagued. I have been punished every morning. Now, I don't know, you know, he may have been going through some genuine hard times. Perhaps he was. Does the Lord ever allow you to go through challenges and difficulties? Yeah. But of course, we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. So you see, if you see things through God's eyes, it makes a big difference. But he wasn't looking at it that way. To him, all the stuff that was happening was bad. You know, health, wealth, and prosperity, that's good. Trouble, poverty, that's bad. Well, maybe. But not in this case, was it? So all day long have I been plagued. You know, there's another thing, though. If you start getting a negative outlook, you start looking at the darkness and seeing it through those eyes, man, that can just magnify your circumstances and your appreciation or your evaluation of your circumstances. And something that may be a very easily handleable trial becomes a mountain. Oh my God, you know, what in the world? Am I on the right track or not? What is this business? You go through the motions, you go to church, and it just doesn't seem real. Everybody goes through that at times, don't they? That's kind of a normal situation. But here's this man, and that's where he's at. Well, now he's in a real dilemma. He thinks, I'm somebody that's supposed to be a leader among God's people. David put me in charge. Here I am. It's time to go on duty, get my cymbals out. Time to sing the songs, time to praise God. And I sure don't feel like it. But I'm in a real tough position here. How do I handle this? What in the world's going on? He says, if I had said, now he realizes I can't express what's going on in here. I can't talk about it. He says, if I will speak thus, I would have betrayed your children. I don't dare tell them what's really going on the inside. I'd be offending them. I'd be against God. I know this isn't right, but I feel this way. What's going on here? I'm in a bad place. So now he's trying to think it through. He says, when I tried to understand all this, it was oppressive to me. The more he thought about it, the more he had a headache. He just couldn't figure it out. It was just the problem is, if we're going to stay down here in the jungle, you'll never figure it out. We will never figure it out. That's not the place where understanding comes from. This is a perplexing world. If you try to judge by things that happen, by the appearance of things, you will never understand the way things really are. And so that's where this poor Asaph is at. He is just in a bad place. He's in a dark night. He's allowed himself to become envious of somebody that has it better than he does in this world. That's a bad place to be. It's a bad place to be. So what was the answer? What was the answer? He said, till I entered the sanctuary of God, then I understood their final destiny. So now he's going into the sanctuary of God. Now I suspect strongly that this is not just talking about, well, I went to the temple one day. This is a man who goes in and suddenly he sees it for what it really is. I mean, you think about what this man has, all that this man has seen, because you remember what happened when they dedicated the temple? The presence and the power of God filled that thing. People couldn't even get near it. It was just a cloud and just awesome sense of God's presence filling that temple when they dedicated it. Asaph saw all that. But lately, he hadn't been seeing that, had he? As far as, I mean, in his apprehension of the way things were, he was seeing it as just an ordinary, a routine activity. He had just been doing religious stuff. And he's beginning to say, why am I doing all this stuff? It's not benefiting me. I'm missing out on life. Why do I do it? But then one day, he actually went in. And what he really did was not just simply a geographical move into a building. He reconnected with God. He actually got in a place where he was able to begin to apprehend God and to see things for the way they were.
This has been the Midnight Cry broadcast. If you would like a DVD or a CD of today's message in its entirety, please request it by program number. DVDs are $10 and CDs are $5. And for those who request it, we will send you our quarterly publication, The Midnight Cry Messenger, free and postage paid. Send your request to Midnight Cry Ministries, Post Office Box 685, Southern Pines, North Carolina, 28388. We invite you to join us again next week at this same time, and may God richly bless you until then.